Hi. We're waiting to start our live stream. Okay. Good morning to those of y'all here in person and online. I am Claire Feb. I'm one of the senior students. And for those who are unfamiliar with what we do, senior students kind of take turns leading on Sunday mornings. So welcome, and for those who are here in person, thank you for braving the rodeo traffic, either on your way in or possibly on your way out. So I was thinking this morning about what to do with this meditation, and I was thinking back to the last time that I did a Sunday morning talk. Like we have these first Sunday talks, the first Sunday of the month. So the next one is going to be the first Sunday of March, which is next Sunday. So I talked about the bardo last time. And for those who are not familiar with this term bardo, what it means basically, like it's pretty much literally in Tibetan, it means in between. And so they talk about different types of bardos. There are different numbers of bardos as well, so I'll just mention like a few of the ones that are commonly talked about. We have some folks kind of trickling in because the traffic is pretty horrible, I hear. So just take a couple minutes before we actually start our meditation. So there's the bardo of birth, which is where, so like in Tibetan Buddhism, they believe that when you die, your body dies, but your mind keeps going. So the bardo of birth is where that mind becomes associated with a new body. And then you are conceived, and then after a while you're born. But you can think of this bardo of becoming really, I think, in a more metaphorical way too, where there's just this state where something old has dissolved and what's new hasn't fully come yet. And there's just a moment. For Dawn Mountain right now, like we're in between our old permanent home and our new permanent home. So we're kind of in this like in-between state. And we haven't yet reached the bardo of becoming, like we haven't moved into our new space and started really making it our own yet. But I think a lot of us have our own types of bardos. So for me, I'm kind of in a bardo of becoming where I'm working on starting up like my own business, and there's a real sense of like right now everything's possible, and then as you start to really commit to like this path and this path, it becomes something, but you lose a lot of possibilities. So there's the bardo of becoming. There's also the bardo of this lifetime. So we tend to think of this as just, this is my life. But if you think about this lifetime as a bardo, in between the bardo of birth and the bardo of death, it kind of doesn't seem as stable anymore. It's not just like, well, I was born, I have a social security number, I'm going to keep that identity, and then I will die. It's kind of more like every single day is a little bit different. And if my circumstances and my mind and the way I'm interacting are all a little bit different every day, like, am I the same person exactly every day? I mean, obviously, we're not exactly the same every day. So it kind of like just softens up, for me anyway, it softens up that sense of like, here I am, I have arrived. Like, if you're a kid, it's obvious that you're still growing. I think for those of us who are adults, I mean, we might be growing sideways. Lord knows I seem to be working on that sometimes. But other than that, like, we kind of feel like, okay, I've reached my adulthood, I am who I am. But in a sense, you're always growing toward the next version of yourself. So this idea of a bardo, to me, it kind of takes these moments. It takes even like the idea of the present moment, and it just softens it up. Because like if you think about it, every single present moment, by the time you've seen what's around you and those impressions on your retinas have been transmitted back to the back of your brain and processed in the occipital lobe, and you have an experience of what's around you, that's not the present moment anymore. It takes a few like microseconds or whatever to even process that. So, in my meditation this morning, I was really thinking about this idea of the bardo, like every moment is a falling into the next moment. And the way I think that translates to our meditation is that it's easy to sit and to think like, now I am meditating. I am attending to the breath. But like, if you're attending to the breath and you get right down to that very most granular level of each moment, there's nothing. I mean, there's like an infinitesimally small moment. It's like a waterfall. Like you're watching the point where the water goes off the edge, but it's always new water. Like that's what makes a waterfall cool. There's no such thing as it just sits there. Like as if it freezes. So not frozen waterfall. But if it's frozen, the water's not falling. So I wanted to share that idea with y'all because I think for me personally, it's easy to kind of like sit down and like you're noticing your in-breath, you're noticing your out-breath, you're noticing if there are thoughts, but you're not necessarily focusing your whole mind, you know? It's easy to kind of like be doing the right thing, like to be following the form of the meditation, but to have a little undercurrent of like thoughts and emotions and just your attention is a little bit scattered. So I wanted to use this idea of a bardo as an invitation really to bring all of that attention that might get scattered out, to bring it back in, and in a way that maybe we don't usually do, even when we meditate, to really recognize like these are the moments of my life. Like I have the present moment, that's all I have. And even the present is continually like fizzing, you know, like that previous moment of the present is continually dissolving and there's something new arising like all the time. And these moments, they're the only thing that's real. Like Harvey has said this before, you know, we tend to think of the future as being real, the past as being real. I have my shopping list, I have like the things I should have done yesterday, but I didn't. And where is that? Like you can't find any of that. It doesn't actually exist. It's only these projections in our mind. So, so I would invite you as we do this practice to use this idea of the bardo, of like the perpetual falling into the next moment as an invitation, really, you know, to examine this super ephemeral, ungrabbable moment that's the only thing that's real. Okay, right. I think hopefully everybody has had enough time to get through traffic. Hey, welcome. All right, so let's meditate. Is anybody doing this meditation with us for the first time? Okay, so everybody's familiar already. So let's begin with just feeling the contact between the base of your body and the cushion or the chair. If you'd like, you can let your eyes gently close, or you can let them just gaze down at about a 45-degree angle and kind of rest your mind, rest your attention. And if you like, you can imagine that all the weight of the body just settles down to the base of the body and your upper body is light. And if you like, you can further imagine that from the base of your spine you have roots or a plumb line or whatever works for you that just drops down through the top layers of the earth all the way down to the center of the earth. And if your mind becomes too flighty, you can use that image of dropping this plumb line or these roots down to ground yourself. Now you can bring your attention up through your straight back, up to the crown of the head, and you can just imagine that the crown of your head is oriented toward the apex of space. So space is bright, it's clear, it's a beautiful sunny day, so it's easy to imagine that luminosity of space. And if you find that your mind is becoming too dull, you can bring your attention up to the crown of the head and up to this image of orienting toward the apex of luminous space. And in this meditation, we'll settle our attention down into the center of the abdomen, feeling the expansion and contraction there as we breathe in and out. And you don't have to exaggerate that or try to make anything happen. You can just feel what's naturally going on with the lower abdomen. And from time to time, we'll all sound the syllable hung together, which wakes up our enlightened mind. But to begin with, we can just focus our attention in the center of the abdomen. And as thoughts arise, we just let them naturally pass through the mind and dissolve. As much as possible, we can try to keep our attention in that very cusp of the present moment. As you sit and have this intention to bring your mind into the present moment at the center of the abdomen, you may find that thoughts still arise, but they don't have quite the same hold on your mind. You can recognize them as thoughts and return your attention to the physical sensations of breathing. As we hung, you can bring your attention to the sound. You can feel its vibration in your body. You can attend to the sound in the room and just see what it's like to have sound itself as your object of meditation. If you find that your mind has wandered off to thoughts or sensations or just complete imagination, see if you can invite your mind just to relax back down into the center of your abdomen. Try to catch that wave of the present moment, which is always ephemeral, always slightly sliding away even as we notice it. we'll take about a 10-minute break. There are probably snacks out there and probably some stuff for tea as well, back around in the kitchen. So let's try and come back at 11:50 and wrap up.
I ask precious 3 gems from deep in my pained heart. See me with compassion. I have no other hope. This dear human body, impermanence besets. Do you not fear your death, good and faithful student? The 5 skandhas gather and disperse who knows when. Heartily think on death, good and faithful student. Karma never deceives, so give up wrongful thoughts. Engage Dharma wholly. I ask precious 3 gems from deep in my pained heart. See me with compassion. I have no other hope. This dear human body, impermanence besets. Do you not fear your death, good and faithful student? The 5 skandhas gather and disperse who knows when. Heartily think on death, good and faithful student. Karma never deceives, so give up wrongful thoughts. Engage Dharma wholly.
na so do we ni ni be na to je shen je zi ro re sa yen na me do tha ka me yin le te mi ta to bo le te chi zhe den ye ye de de kar zo lo ma ngan di phung in so pa na chi lo te men do ni ne che war so hi te de kar zo lo ma liên tre lo me yen pe me gi to par po yin la che ge
I ask precious three gems from deep in my pained heart. See me with compassion. I have no other hope. This dear human body, impermanence besets. Do you not fear your death, good and faithful student? The five skandhas gather and disperse who knows when. Heartily think on death, good and faithful student. Karma never deceives, so give up wrongful thoughts. Engage Dharma wholly.
kun jo ren che na so do we ni ni be na to je shen je zi ro re sa yen na me do tha ka me yin le te mi ta to bo le te chi zhe den ye ye de de kar zo lo ma ngan di phung in so pa na chi lo te men do ni ne che war so hi te de kar zo lo ma liên tre lo me yen pe me gi to par po yin la che ge
I ask precious three gems from deep in my pained heart. See me with compassion. I have no other hope. This dear human body impermanence besets. Do you not fear your death, good and faithful student? The 5 skandhas gather and disperse who knows when. Heartily think on death, good and faithful student. Karma never deceives, so give up wrongful thoughts. Engage Dharma wholly.
근조른 지나서 도민이 베나 토지 신지지로 레사 예나메도 타가메 일때 미타 도볼레제 기주된 예예 데데 가르솔로마 안디 풍인 소파
Welcome back, everybody. If you haven't had a chance to put any names in the book of people who need some support or who we want to dedicate our practice to, it's not too late. And we are about to do a second type of meditation. So we'll kind of start by just like settling in, grounding ourselves again, and then in the Tibetan Buddhist tradition, we feel like it's really important to try and share the benefits of our practice. So we're not just sitting for ourselves, but we're actually trying to like become more sane and grounded people so that we can spread a little bit of saneness and groundedness to everybody else. So what we're going to do is we're going to sound the syllable ah 3 times. And ah is just like this open syllable. So as we sound it the first time, we imagine that our whole body just fills up with light and kind of dissolves into light. And this light is like healing and blessing, and it carries good energy with it. So that's the first one. With the second time that we sound ah, we're going to share that light with everyone else in the room, and we're also going to receive from everyone else in the room. And I like to imagine just like making this like web of light that we're all connected by. And then the third time that we say ah, we're going to imagine just sending this light out like through the entire city, the country, the entire planet. If you want to send it out like into the furthest reaches of space, you can do that too. So basically, wherever your imagination wants to take it. And if you want to imagine, certain people or certain animals or whatever, certain situation even, as you're sending this light out, you can do that too and just have a sense of like, may these beings be well. Okay, so let's just start with, thank you, with a couple of minutes of just kind of settling back into our meditative space. And then we will do the 3 ahs. The first ah, our body dissolves to light. With the second ah, we send and receive the light. And with the third ah, we share the light. All right, so now we'll sing the, we should sing the aspiration verses from that yellow sheet. I'm going to just grab a sheet right quick. Thank you. So let's sing these aspiration verses, and then we will do the blessing verse. Janet, would you be willing to light the candle? Thank you. May all beings always have happiness and its causes. May all beings always be free of pain and its causes. May all beings always be pain-free and live happily. May no beings ever cling. With all of you in mind, we light this lamp of clarity. May the glow of love, wisdom, shine within us, everyone, till we all rise forth born in one enlightened mandala. So we dedicate our practice today to all living beings, and especially to Ricky Grundon, chemotherapy at NYU Hospital. Doug, Tom and Yoko Kilgore, and expected baby Joe. Doug, Camachos, Mike, Darren, George Runyon, Bardo and family. Matilde, Valerie and new family. Monica V, Claire F and mom. Miriam Cypress, Laurie L, Vasuda, Vatana and daughters. Isaiah, Angelica, Belda, Michael. Rocky, Lana, Anthony L, Mary Kay Conlin, Nabardo, Cheryl, all addicted and their families, Joyce Maddox and family, Anna Silva, Giselle Pratt, Ferran Pratt, Leonardo Pratt, Luis Felipe Silva Jr., Jenny, Bob, Alberto, Wiley and Nabardo, Sophia, Dominica, Matt, Rafael, Terry, Lavon, Lisa, Phil, Rosa, People of Venezuela, Claudia Gish in the Bardo, Valerie, Matilde, Eleanor Day and Freda, Susan Lupino and family, Marina, Geronimo and family, Maria Luisa, Nora Andrews, health, Terry Andrews, hospice, Taylor, Amanda, and Heather. And that concludes our practice this week. Thank you for joining us in person or online. We have a few announcements. There will be next Sunday at 10:30 a First Sunday teaching. There's going to be a lot of college or high school students, so it's going to be a big crowd. Should be fun. And there's going to be actually a special video that Anne recorded for Tricycle Magazine. So we're going to watch that video together, and then Mark Urowitz is going to lead the meditation, and he's going to do a Q&A. And then we have first and third teaching Tuesdays. So if you want to go deeper into what Dawn Mountain has to offer, first and third Tuesdays are a great way to do that. And our series now is on wisdom and compassion. It's really profound. I can't think of anything else.
So next, can you all hear me?
Yes.
Next Saturday at the Skylit Temple at 10 a.m. We are going to be cleaning up the temple. The beautiful roof is done, and we have an inspector coming in, so we want to make sure that the temple's free from debris. We'd like at least 6 to 9 people. We think it'll take about 4 hours, but the more people that come, the faster we get done, right? And this is your chance to help make an impact on the new space we're building. So we would appreciate anyone who would come. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Oh, another announcement? The address for the Skylit Temple.
3100 West Fuquay. It looks like Fuquay.
And there will be more information on various social medias.
Yeah, we'll be posting information and sending out an email soon. Thank you.
Yes. Check your inbox for our newsletter for March. Anything else? All right. Thanks, y'all. Have a good week. Hope to see you virtually or in person next week.
Do we pick these up?
Oh, yes, sorry. We need to pick up the cushions and stack them in our little storage room. And then if you wouldn't mind helping us to stack the chairs, or what do we do with chairs? Okay.